all 9 games, but hasn't started just yet. And you're right, that would have been a pretty good time to make your first start coming off the back of that performance. Scott drops the shoulder, but they're going to call him for a walk, and it'll go back to the Bulldogs.
Just not quite in rhythm, this Maryland offense. You feel as if it's a half tick off.
And how much of that do you think comes from the fact that this game was just announced a couple days ago? They haven't been able to do their full scouting, and it's hard to do on a Division II team.
Oh, absolutely. You want to do your due diligence every single time, every single opponent. Hard to do so when you have less than 48 hours turnaround.
Wiggins skies for the rebound, but telegraphed the pass. It's intercepted, but Jaron Cottingham will find his way back to the floor. Head coach of Wingate, Brian Good, now in his 13th season. Came from the head coach role at Queens University of Charlotte, also in the D2, and a little bit of experience in the Big Ten as well. Played for Wisconsin from 88 to 92 and was the Big Ten free throw champion.
And so on one end, you got a team struggling from the stripe, and at the other bench, somebody who knows all about that.
Scott trying to muscle his way down low, and another foul called against the Bulldogs. This one again will be called on Rashad Pringle, his second, in only a matter of moments. Hart with the inbound responsibilities for Maryland. Wiggins quick off the pass, and that one rattles home. Been that kind of day for Maryland. Not sure if they're always going to fall.
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but those inbounds from the baseline have been a problem for Wingate already a couple of times today.
Telegraph pass there, and Hamilton with the steal comes down through the lane, off the window, gets the roll. Maryland has now made 4 of their last 4 from the floor.
The maturity from Jarius Hamilton, from a catch-and-shoot guy in the perimeter to somebody who's comfortable putting the ball on the floor, and only this year, in his first year in College Park, has been something to watch.
3 from the far side. That one doesn't fall for Andreas Wilson. Wiggins lost the handle, and it'll be scooped up by Cunningham. He'll come down, absorb some contact, but does get the finish. No foul called as well. Did well to put it up.
Aaron Wiggins seems a little bit rushed today to me, Brendan. He's moving a little bit too quickly, not really composing himself the way that you might see, say, last game when he had 12 points against Illinois.
Perhaps a little bit of increased responsibility for Wiggins as well without Eric Ayala on the floor. Quick passing of Quan Smart into the game as well for Maryland, but that one's stolen back by Wingate. Bounce pass to Wilson, who goes up off the window, can't get the roll, and Hamilton corrals that one. Outlet pass to Smart. And now they'll just slow things down. You talked about Wiggins being a little rushed, and maybe that's just the case for the whole Maryland team. Scott will keep it and comes up to Hamilton. Hart for 3. Couldn't find that one. He did hit a big 3 against Illinois last time out that put the Terps ahead in the late stages of that one. And Wilson is going to be called for a walk. We'll see 2 more subs for Maryland. Morcell will come back into the game, and appearing for the first time today is James Graham, the freshman who graduated high school early and joined up with the teams at the very end of December. Arrived on campus on the 27th, and his first practice was the 30th, dressed the next day for that New Year's Eve game, but has only played in 2 games prior to this one. Did not play last time out against Illinois. Here is Graham. He'll put up a 3. Still searching for his first points as a Maryland Terrapin as well. And that one, Morcell able to get a hand in there, but Maryland not fortunate to get possession. 15 on the shot clock. High off the backboard and good from Francis Seo. Seo, an interesting story. He did join Wingate as a walk-on and now has worked his way all the way up to now being a redshirt junior and one of their most important players. Hamilton puts up one and missed it short. And here is Seo now. A 3 is good. Francis Seo knocks it down, and Mark Turgeon needs a timeout. Wingate on a 7-0 run. The Terps have not scored in the last 2.5 minutes.
Francis Seo.
And when you're trying to avoid the bad and the ugly, you need to keep playing games, keep guys fresh, keep guys sharp as you go into the final stretch of conference play.
And we mentioned it in the open on the other side of this Wingate team, should I say, as Morcell is able to knock one down The Michigan Wolverines are on the other side of this break, and they look as good as any team in college basketball right now. I don't know if you caught that game against Wisconsin last week. They look like a team that belongs in the Final Four. Hunter Dickinson is the final piece of the puzzle for Juwan Howard, and they've really got something going in Ann Arbor. That's going to be a tough decision, a tough matchup, should I say, for Maryland on the road against Michigan.
The Terps have already struggled against the Wolverines at home this year. Is that one just a lot of chaos there? But Maryland losing to Michigan back on New Year's Eve. We've referenced that game a lot. A lot happened that day. The Terps on the receiving end of an 84-73 loss. So just to catch you up, on the Wingate end, it was a flopping warning on that side. And then, just a little bit of chaos on this end of the floor as well. But now Morcell has it for the Terrapins. Kicks it out to James Graham. A little bit of contact there. And getting called for the fouls, Andreas Wilson.
And back on that Wingate offensive possession, yes, it ended in a cylinder violation, and the Bulldogs don't get the points. But the fact that Wingate is able to establish that inside presence where they can touch the cylinder, even illegally, going to be a point of concern for Mark Turgeon.
Galen Smith coming back into the game to provide some of that size down low. Smart off the screen from Smith. Now Smith gets it and is fouled as he tried to put that one up. Very contested down low.
And the problem there for Galen Smith, yes, he gets the foul, but he brings the ball down too low. When you're a big man in the low post, you want to catch that pass up high and keep it up high. He brings it down low to bring the defender back into the play. He is able to get to the free throw stripe, though.
Smith, only 6 of 12 from the stripe so far this year. The senior from Clinton, Mississippi, joined the Terps as a grad transfer prior to this season from Alabama. He knocks the first one down. Played in 31 games last year for Alabama, making 7 starts, and has been a big part of Maryland trying to make up the loss for Jalen Smith and maybe kind of failing to do so this year.
Well, that's a really tough ask.
It's a really tough ask. Big shoes to fill.
The top 10 pick in the NBA draft, number 10 by the Phoenix Suns for Jalen Smith. Nobody was going to be able to fill those shoes. And Galen Smith, I don't know if Alabama really pops off the page if you look at transfers, but they're having an excellent season. They're a program on the up and up. Galen Smith, I think, still trying to figure out what his role is. Is he a true 5? Is he a 4 that can stretch into the 5? Mark Turgeon has been trying to use him in a couple different ways still this year. Turgeon
talks about how it's just a bad year to be a small team in the Big Ten. Cunningham through the lane and couldn't quite apply the finish. Quick transition by Maryland. Wiggins to Morcell, back to Wiggins for 3. He got it. And Maryland is back on top with a big-time 3 from Aaron Wiggins. The Terps on a 7-0 run.
And one of the biggest questions this year, with the loss of Anthony Cowan Jr. especially from last year, was who's going to make a shot when you need it most? Wiggins might be that guy.
Wiggins hasn't quite had the three-point shooting he wanted. Freshman year shot 41%. Last year down to 31% as a sophomore, and he's only hovering around 30% this year as well as a junior. Galen Smith applying the finish again. Maryland on a 9-0 run, making their last 3 of 3.
And that's a big-time pass from Aaron Wiggins. He had already left his feet when he realized that Galen Smith had slipped away from his defender, was able to find him.
Another 3 off the mark from Miguel Priest, the senior from Detroit. Good chance in this game for James Graham to get some extended minutes for the Terrapins. Weren't really sure how much playing time he was going to get coming in. This is such a young guy in the middle of a season. Only about 14 minutes through 2 games so far this year. Up and over top. Francis Sio applying the finish.
Well, Francis Sio loves to put the ball on the floor almost to a fault, but once he gets into the lane, he is very dangerous at any level of competition.
Wiggins passed to Galen Smith, and Miguel Priest was there to cause the disruption.
And on the other side, you look back at this three-pointer from Aaron Wiggins. Excellent job from Darren Morcell to keep his head up. Sometimes when you're driving towards the lane, you put your head down, just want to get strength to the cup. But he's able to keep his head up, find Aaron Wiggins, the trailer. Easy 3 for number 2.
Hakeem Hart and Galen Smith into the game for the Terps, and a steal there by Wingate. They'll look to come down the other end. Up top to Destin Clark checking into the game for the first time for the Bulldogs. Both teams using their bench in this last second addition to both of their schedules. Wilson now down low, fighting some contact. Couldn't quite get it, and Dante Scott pulling it down.
Wilson's a really scrappy player, not the tallest on the floor, but he'll get in with those big guys in the post.
Terps swinging around for Morcell. Down low to Galen Smith. Out to Hakeem Hart for three. Got it. Hakeem Hart, no mistake from the corner. And the Terps continue to push the advantage.
And I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that Galen Smith needed to get position earlier. Well, that time he did, and he didn't score, but he made that inside-out presence happen.
Seo a heat check on the other end. 12-5 run in favor of Maryland over the last 3 minutes and change. An errant pass by Maryland. Not the cleanest game so far for either side, but it is still a tight one.
And Daryl Morcell trying to make things happen offensively. The three-pointers, the great equalizer. Yes, he has to be able to navigate with this mask. It's not a novice concept in basketball. You see Rip Hamilton did it in the NBA, but he's really looked good in the past couple of games, even with that mask on.
Foul on the floor called against Maryland. The Terps have made 4 of the last 5. They have a 3-point advantage here with a little under 8 minutes left in the first half. And the Bulldogs will inbound, I would say, from right in front of us. We're set back a little ways. Casual Fridays for Mark Turgeon. Here's Clark. Kendrick Tucker back in. Clark out to Tucker. Drops the shoulder, steps back, puts up a three, and missed that one off the underside of the rim. Now Morcell pushes the tempo. And an offensive foul called against the Terrapins. It goes back to the Bulldogs. A lot of turnovers for the Terps so far. That one, number 7.
Not all turnovers are created equally, though, Brendan, and Wingate going to need more live ball turnovers if they are really going to get back into this game. Yes, this dead ball turnover is good. It's a stop. It's a foul. Excellent. But when you're able to get those live ball turnovers and turn them into points off turnovers in transition, that can really be what brings you back into a game.
Wingate only 2 points off turnovers so far in this game. Scramble for the rebound. It's Clark going through the lane, and he draws the foul. And we'll head to the line for the first time today.
Destin Clark's had an excellent relationship with Wingate, going all the way back to his freshman year of high school when he was recruited by assistant head coach Marcus Kirkland. This has been on his radar for a long time. He's gotten to the Bulldogs, and even as a freshman, he's able to get a lot of playing time. He's appeared in every game so far, hasn't picked up a start, but coming in right as a freshman, that early relationship with the coaching staff of Wingate really helping him out when he gets to school.
That Maryland foul coming on Galen Smith. It is his 3rd so far early in this game, and he will make a slow walk to the end of Maryland's bench. Aaron Wiggins comes in to replace him.
I'd be curious to see how Mark Turgeon handles this, because conventional wisdom would say when you have 3 fouls in the first half, you're not seeing any more action in the first half. But knowing that Mark Turgeon might want to use his bench a little bit more already, we'll see if he's a bit more aggressive with the transfer.
And that one rattles home for Clark. Jaron Cottingham also coming back into the game for the Wingate Bulldogs. Bulldogs bench starting to make a little bit of noise, something that Maryland's put an emphasis on this season as well. A lot of stories written about the energy coming from the Terrapin substitutes. Dante Scott working out. Wiggins, another 3 and another make. Aaron Wiggins, 3 of 5 from deep. He's up to 11 points, the first Terrapin in double figures today. Clark, a nice little finesse touch of a finish.
That's a veteran move from the freshman Destin Clark. Gets his defender off of his feet with a really good ball fake and tidy finish as well.
Wiggins had it stripped as he went up.
Going back to that discussion about the bench energy, it's so important this year. Normally, the Xfinity Center would be rocking for every game as we get into this portion of the season, mid-January. Obviously empty this year for obvious reasons, as we saw a wonderful pass there from Dante Scott. The inside-out presence really working for Maryland with Galen Smith and Dante Scott on the inside post. But going back to once again to the crowd discussion, obviously Xfinity Center empty. It feels strange. It feels weird. And the emphasis was really put after that Rutgers loss here at the Xfinity Center, when it seemed like Steve Peichel's group had almost more energy and turned that game into almost a kind of home game for the Scarlet Knights, even though it was here in College Park. Maryland was able to flip the script on that, especially when they went to Wisconsin, got that big win in Madison, and the Terps bench was absolutely electric that day.
And Mark Turgeon kind of talked about making any game a home game because there's no one in the arenas to sway it one way or the other. So it's, like you said, whoever's bench is making the most noise. And he actually, after that Rutgers game, showed the team film of the bench players. Aaron Wiggins with a steal down on the other end to throw it down. The Xfinity Center would be on fire if it was filled.
And there it is, exactly what I was talking about with live ball turnovers on the other end. Aaron Wiggins able to get a steal and move in transition for an easy 2. That basket's not going to count. It's a traveling violation.
No basket, Miguel Priest. And another look here, just talked about Aaron Wiggins moving a little too fast, moves at the perfect speed to go up and just spike that one down. Terps making 3 of their last 3 from the floor, 52%. Wiggins again, another 3. Couldn't quite get the end result that he had earlier on that one. Here's Priest. Well, behind the back action. Now Wilson, a long 3 off the mark. Into the hands of Hakeem Hart. All the way down to Dante Scott, who throws one down himself. And Maryland really starting to apply the pressure. 33-25 with 5 to play in the first half.
And that's just hustle from Dante Scott, being the first one down the floor, getting over the shorter Wilson for the pass, and then an easy dunk for number 24.
6-0 run for the Terps. The Bulldogs looking to end that on the other end. A 3 is up, and that one is good from Kendrick Tucker. 20 points last game out against Coker. Strong performance for the redshirt junior from Roanoke, Virginia.
And that's his range. He can extend that three-point arc a long, long ways.
Wiggins is fouled down low. He might have been trying to find the cut there of Jarius Hamilton. Take another look here. Maryland coming all the way down the other end for Scott to have one of himself. And Dante Scott's really a guy that can do a lot of different things and do a lot of different things very well.
Well, I remember even going back to the first exhibition game of his freshman season, Mark Turgeon praising what he called the Philly toughness from Dante Scott, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native. And he has grown from a really scrappy player his freshman year into a much more sophisticated, mature player his sophomore year who can play all over the floor.
So with Dante Scott exiting the game, they trade some Philly toughness for some La Plata, Maryland toughness.
I don't think you'll get as good of a cheesesteak there.
I mean, who's to say? Reese Mona was raised on his family's farm. You can probably get a lot of good food out there. Here is Miguel Priest. Wingate trying to keep this one from slipping out of reach. Got him to the far side. And just not getting the finish, Francis Seal. We've seen him make some difficult shots, but that one, not the same end result. Hakeem Hart now. Morcell. Spinning down low, kicks it out to the corner. A little bounce pass. Hakeem Hart for 3, and he got it. Another 3 for Hakeem Hart, his second of the day, and Maryland continues to push the advantage.
And fantastic patience as well from Daryl Morcell to wait for the open man and then find him.
Brian Good needs a timeout as this one's starting to slip away. The dart from Hakeem Hart. It's a good thing, but Maryland has always prided itself in getting those home victories, and they just haven't been able to do that this year against Big Ten teams. Back underway with Wingate trailing. Jaron Cottingham on the far side, defended by Morcell with that lockdown defense. Acrobatic attempt there from Cottingham is no good, and the outlet pass from Mona to Hart.
I haven't said Jared Cottingham's name enough if you're Wingate, only 4 points on the day.
Wiggins now gets the screen from Hamilton, looks to go inside, kicks it out. Morcell will have a 3 himself, and he got it. The masked man getting it done from deep.
And Aaron Wiggins just draws so much attention from the Wingate defense because of what he's been able to do today. Already 16 points, so the overhelp comes. Easy look for Daryl Morcell. A
7-0 run for the Terrapins over the last minute and change. You can extend it to a 13-3 run over the last 3 minutes. CO first to pounce on that one. Now Clark kicks it out. Cottingham into the paint for Priest. 10 to shoot for Wingate. And there's going to be a walk called against Wingate. Just a little eager, Franciscio.
And that's Franciscio keeping his head down instead of up. But on the other side, you see 1, 2, 3 defenders all circling around Aaron Wiggins to make sure he can't hurt them. All he has to do is dump it off to Daryl Morcell from beyond the arc. Splash.
Morcell, 6 points so far on the day. The Terps are 18-1 when he scored in double figures. Dante Scott getting it done for the Terps.
And that's just the Wingate defense losing Dante Scott, and you can't do that, especially that close to the rim.
A little over 2 minutes left in the first half. Maryland's really come alive here in the past couple of minutes. Giveaway there. Scott with an easy interception. He'll bring it down and pass off to Aaron Wiggins. Wiggins leading all scorers so far today with 16 points here in the first half. Scott now backing down. Morcell through the lane and applies the fingertip roll.
And at halftime, Brian Good's really going to need to make a decision about overhelping and double teaming because, yes, he's putting multiple defenders on the ball carrier, but Maryland just able to break it easily with some really nice vision.
11-0 run for Maryland in the last 2:45. Clark hands off to Priest with 10 to shoot. Here's Tucker, and that one won't go. Here's Wiggins on the far side. Defended by Tucker, and will be called for the foul. We'll take another look here. The feed down low for Scott, who jammed that one down. And Maryland just starting to have some fun on offense.
Sorry about that, Brendan. Miguel Priest a little late on the help there. Then the help comes a little bit too early on the other side. A little bit of overcompensation for Wingate, and an easy look from Dante Scott.
So Aaron Wiggins shooting 1-1 now for the Terrapins. About 76% from the stripe so far this year. Good on the first attempt. Last year scored in double figures 17 times with just the one double-double. He does have 17 points so far today to go with 5 rebounds. Second attempt clean as well from the junior from Greensboro, North Carolina. Maryland now on a 13-0 run, 19-3 if you want to extend it to 5 minutes. And Wingate's had 4 turnovers in the last several minutes, but the 3 is there to end the scoreless drought of almost 4 minutes for the Bulldogs.
Franciscio, I think, can play at almost any level in the country. He's having an excellent day. He gets himself in a really good space and is able to knock down those shots.
Kicked out to the corner for Dante Scott, looking to get low and draws the foul. I think that one will come on Miguel Priest, the senior from Detroit.
And on the offensive end, it seems that Theo's getting all those options because he's moving the most without the ball. He's able to find those open pockets in the Maryland defense. And when he gets the ball, he knows exactly what to do with it. This is a really, really talented player who won the state championship his senior year in high school.
So Dante Scott, the sophomore, at the line for the Terrapins, as we said, at Philly toughness. Couldn't quite make that one. Reese Mona back in the game for the Terrapins. And he's one of those fan favorites. If Xfinity Center was packed, they'd all be on their feet chanting for Reese Mona. But Scott still at the line. Reached double figures in 11 of 13 games this year. Leads the team in rebounds as well. We talked about just that versatility and the all-aroundness that he brings to Maryland on both ends of the floor.
I think the most improved player from last year to this year.
And he was pretty good last year, too.
Oh, no doubt.
Here's Miguel Priest. He'll pull up from the top and gets that one to go. Priest now up to 5 points on the day. His first 3 and now 3 attempts. So we're under the final 20 seconds of the first half. Poked away there. Hakeem Hart will keep it for the Terrapins. Now Mona off to Wiggins. Thought about the 3. has 3 to shoot. Through the lane, off the window, can't get the roll. And the clock will expire on the first half. So the Terps go into the locker room with a 13-point lead. 18 of those points of the 47 coming from Aaron Wiggins, and Wingate's going to need to find something in the second half.
They're going to need to shoot the 3 and Aquan Smart as well. They're going to be needing to be answers this year for Maryland. They're important parts of this Maryland depth, and it's going to be a good opportunity for them to get some live ball action in this one.
Underway in the second half. Wingate will go from left to right on your screens wearing those Navy uniforms. The Terps in the gold. Here's Jaron Cottingham. And couldn't quite get the finish. Kountouriotou Taylor, who didn't see a lot of minutes in the end of the first half, did get the start. But only 6 minutes so far in this one. Here's Wiggins working on 18 points. Up top to Morcell. Into the low block for Dante Scott. Scott spinning, kicks out. Wiggins a dip of the shoulder. Lost it, able to keep it in. Kicks out to Dante Scott. 5 to shoot for the Terrapins. Hart a 3. And missed that one long. And Miguel Priest will get the rebound. And Cottingham's going to be called for a walk on the far side. Again, we talked about just the turnovers for both teams. Now Wingate overtaking Maryland 8 turnovers to 7. And Maryland's been able to capitalize a little bit more, 8 points off those turnovers to just Wingate's 4 points off Maryland's 7.
Yeah, and that ratio is really troubling for Wingate. To force 7 turnovers, only be able to get 4 points off of it. And then that turnover from Cottingham, he has not been himself today, and he's not been what Wingate needs him to be today to face off against a Division I Big Ten team like Maryland, averaging 19 points a game, only 4 so far.
Came into the game only needing 11 to get to 900 in his Wingate career. Morcell will inbound from the sideline to Hart with 15 on the shot clock. Galen Smith working on those 3 fouls he picked up in the first half. Finds himself down low and a nice little deft touch.
That's a really good cut from Galen Smith. He caught the ball initially on the high post, perhaps a bit higher up than he wanted to on the court, but he's able to make that extra cut to get the lay-in.
Taylor keeps it and hands off to Priest. Begins to work on the left hand through traffic, and he was fouled. We take another look at this last Maryland basket.
You see how high up Galen Smith initially catches it, but then he's just able to slip underneath Franciscio to get to the rim for an easy 2.
Dante Scott was called for the foul there, his first of the day. And Miguel Priest at the line, not able to connect on the first one. Priest just 5 points on the day, 2 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 3 from deep. And Brian Good would like to get a little bit more scoring from somebody else other than Franciscio.
Yeah, the initial thought would be to look at number 0, Jaron Cottingham, who, as we talked about him in the open, we've talked about him all day, is the primary scorer for Wingate, at least statistically. But guys like Miguel Priest and Kendrick Tucker have also come up big in recent games, and not a whole lot on the score sheet for either of them.
Dante Scott at the top for the Terrapins, and there is a foul on Wingate. Kountouriotou Taylor picks up his first of the day.
Kountouriotou Taylor, a really solid player for Brian Good's team, but consistency has been the issue. He's gotten double-digit points a handful of games, but never in his entire career.
And Galen Smith goes up and throws it down. Off the feed from Aaron Wiggins. Somebody better check on that rim.
Well, that's what Galen Smith can bring to a team. That's why Mark Turgeon wanted to go and bring him from Tuscaloosa to College Park, a rim racker in College Park.
And you just see the fire in Galen Smith after throwing that one down. 51-35 is the Maryland lead here in the second half. About 3 minutes played almost. Goes back up top. Another 3 from Priest. That one off the mark, not even hitting the rim. And Wiggins will bring it across the timeline for the Terps. Feeds in Galen Smith down low. A little bit of contact there and gets the finish nonetheless.
And Galen Smith starting to get locked in now. Getting your defender off of your feet on the low post means that you've won the battle. That's what he did. And not only was he able to pick up the foul, but he's able to get the bucket as well. Just to kind of cap the conversation about Kountouriotou, I was talking about before Galen Smith not so rudely interrupted me. He's gotten double-digit points a handful of times, but he's a redshirt senior, and he's never had back-to-back 10-plus point performances. Consistency has been the issue for the South Carolinian.
Galen Smith joins Aaron Wiggins in double figures for the Terrapins. Here is Francis Sio having a great day so far for the Bulldogs. Gets it back with 5 to shoot. Kicks out to the corner. A little dip of the shoulder. The lefty three is missed wide from Kendrick Tucker. So we'll go back to the Terrapins. We'll see a couple subs, one for either side. Rashad Pringle back in the game for Wingate, and Jarius Hamilton will replace Galen Smith. You see Pringle there, 3 points, all from behind the arc on the one shot.
And you talk about Francis Sio, the redshirt junior with 15 points on the day. He looks up for this challenge. He looks ready to go, and he looks very competitive against this team. And you might be thinking when you're watching, hey, why isn't this guy playing in Division I? Why aren't we seeing more of him? And there's always a handful of reasons why that happens.
Wiggins a 3 and a new career high. Aaron Wiggins, 23 points on 7 of 11 shooting. Heat check on the other end, no good. Kicked all the way to the corner. Scott a 3 himself, and it rattles home. An 11-0 run for the Maryland Terrapins over the last 90 seconds.
That's such an extra dimension to Dante Scott's game that has grown in his time at College Park. The ability to stretch out the floor and score from beyond the arc.
And Kountouriotou went through the lane and draws the foul. So Aaron Wiggins having a great day for the Maryland Terrapins. This big-time 3 gives him a new career high. The Terps up big. Interesting to see if he gets back in. You know, we're at that stage of the game. Maryland's kind of creeping up there. You look to guys like Aquan Smart, Hakeem Hart, pardon the rhyme, to get some more minutes and maybe rest Wiggins up before, you know, that big game against Michigan.
Yeah, that game against Michigan going to be huge. And this is a big opportunity for some guys who haven't necessarily gotten as many minutes. We've talked about it before. Guys like Marcus Dockery, guys like James Graham, to face live opposition. Wingate's been showing that they've been up for this challenge. In the first half, they played Maryland really tough. They clearly have some guys who can score the basketball, especially Francis Sio and Jaron Cottingham, who hasn't had a whole lot of success today.
Dante Scott goes through, drew some contact, and was fouled. Just about to get you the 5 on the floor for Maryland. It's Dante Scott, Jarius Hamilton, Darryl Morcell, Aquan Smart, and Hakeem Hart.
So going back to the conversation, this might be an exhibition game for Wingate. It's not for Maryland. The game doesn't count towards the net rankings, but you know, even in an exhibition scenario for Wingate, they want to be playing hard. They have that D2 chip on their shoulder. And it's a big opportunity for Maryland to get live competition against a real opponent who you know is going to be stuck into the competition.
So there was a technical called on Wingate. Not quite sure what it was about. Couldn't quite make out what the PA announcer was saying. Class B technical. So it was we talked about the flop warning in the first half. That was the second, and so it results in that one-shot technical. A little clarification there.
That's a fairly new rule that the NCAA has instituted. Wants to get that out of the game, obviously. Don't want that to be a part of college basketball, especially with guys who are constantly playing so hard with only the 5 fouls as opposed to the 6 in the NBA. Every foul even more crucial. A good rule, in my opinion, put in by the NCAA to get flops out of the game of basketball.
So Dante Scott made the first, missed the second. Wingate comes down on the other end. 15.5 left in this one. Here's Pringle. And he tried to get it to go, and it put it off the back of the iron. It does fall to Maryland. Hakeem Hart behind the back. So bring it up for the Terps. Morcell quickly into Dante Scott, and he was fouled. That one will come on Jaron Cottingham. Cottingham still only the 5 points, 1 of 6 from the floor. Morcell off the inbound, goes up to Aquan Smart. Dante Scott through the lane off the glass and couldn't get the finish. Bit uncharacteristic there from the sophomore from Philly.
But once again, Dante Scott being able to get to the rim because there's nobody on this Wingate team that's really suited to guard him. No post player can go outside with Dante Scott, and no guard can stick with him on the inside.
Gliding through the lane is Miguel Priest. Now up to 8 points on the day. Hamilton. And Morcell was fouled. That one from Kendrick Tucker. See the return of James Graham into the team for the Terrapins.
It's a great story from James Graham, or about James Graham, after the Wisconsin game. When Maryland was able to pick up that huge win on the road, the team FaceTimed him and was able to video call him from the celebration in the locker room. And James Graham's father said that really lifted his spirits about being able to send his son into a new situation. You know, during the middle of your senior year of high school, obviously a lot of trepidation, a lot of anxiety about sending your son directly into the fire to a Big Ten season. But being able to show the encouragement, the excitement, and the camaraderie that the rest of the team showed around that big win, including him in the celebration, even though he couldn't be there in person, was a big deal.
That's something that this Maryland team really prides itself on in years past, but this year as well, walking off the floor following that big-time win over Illinois. Daryl Morcell said this one's for EA. Eric Ayala not able to play in that game. Here is Morcell now. Quan Smart spinning, tried to kick it out to Graham. And it does go out of play and back to Wingate.
And that's why they're in that situation right now. Both Graham and Smart not on the same page, haven't played together a whole lot, obviously. So getting more in rhythm as they play together more and understand each other's mindsets is going to be a lot more helpful down the road.
Cottingham lost it, but it does find its way to Miguel Priest. 15 on the shot clock for the Bulldogs. Here's Francis Seo. Pringle. Foul, getting a little chippy.
And Quan Smart doing maybe a little bit too much there with Pringle backing down on Jarius Hamilton. Hamilton had established good position, and Smart came over to help, and I've had an extra swipe on him.
Cottingham will inbound it. And underneath the basket was Francis Seo drawing the foul.
Always in the right place at the right time, Francis Seo, number 2. We were talking earlier before Aaron Wiggins set his new career high about the fact that Francis Seo is in Division II and the fact that guys like Jaron Cottingham, averaging 19 points per game, are in Division II. And it's for a variety of reasons, whether it's you really like your coach, whether you want to stay close to home for family reasons, whether you particularly like the campus or you like the mindset and the culture of the basketball team. Sometimes there are guys who can play at the next level that actively choose to stay at Division II. And that's why when you see a Division II opponent on the schedule as a fan, you might think, oh, this is going to be a game that doesn't really get you good competition, that doesn't get you ready for the next game. That's not necessarily the case, and we're seeing guys on Wingate be able to perform at a high level even against Big Ten competition.
Because there's players in the Big Ten similar to guys like Francis Seo and Jaron Cottingham that, do prepare you as you go down the stretch. So Aaron Wiggins back into the game for Maryland. Here he is on the ball now. Now Morcell. Pringle hit the deck down low. Hit it pretty hard, too, and Hamilton did get the bucket, but there was a foul called on Pringle. That's his third, the 8th for Wingate.
It'll be interesting to see if Jarius Hamilton, down the rest of this Big Ten season, can establish himself as a big man. Mark Turgeon said it's a bad year to be a small team in the Big Ten this year because the Big Ten is just absolutely littered with dominant big men, whether you think about it as Luka Garza at Iowa, Trayvon Williams at Purdue might be the most improved player in the Big Ten, Trace Jackson Davis. The list goes on and on. Hunter Dickinson at Michigan, who the Terps will see next. It is a great, great year for big men in the Big Ten.
Wilson, another long three. He certainly hasn't been shy of that today. But Priest drawing the foul.
That's a really active play there from Priest, able to cut to the basket. He lost James Graham, and an athletic play to catch it and put it back up all in one motion.
And Maryland just got a lot taller with the entrance of Shoal Marial, the 7'2" sophomore from South Sudan.
And speaking of finding your way in the Big Ten as a big man, they're going to rely on Joel Marial a lot down the stretch. He has played in spurts, I would say, in the Big Ten, and in some situations he looks a lot more comfortable than others. But if the Terps can get even a dozen minutes out of him productively, that's going to be a really big boost as the Terps try to work around a lot of big men in the Big Ten.
Wiggins couldn't quite get the role, looking to extend that career high day. He does have 23. The previous career high for Wiggins was 22. Wingate keeping it alive. But Wilson stepped on the line, so it goes back to the Terrapins. Just to finish the thought on Aaron Wiggins, we talked about that 22. And getting in with the block there is Shoal Marial. And Aquan Smart, too. Two guys very different sizes going up for that one. Here's James Graham. Now Marial into Graham for the teardrop. His first points as a Terrapin. James Graham from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, joining the team halfway through the season. Finally has his first bucket for the Maryland Terrapins.
That's got to feel good for number one in gold. That first one that goes through makes it a lot easier for the next ones to follow.
Breaks the ice for sure. Missed attempt there, and Hamilton looking to come quickly. Bounce pass to Marial. Couldn't quite corral that one, and Sio picks it up and gets the outlet pass. Kountouriotou going up, and it's an offensive foul. Jaron Kountouriotou being called for the offensive foul, just a little too aggressive.
And a really nice job from Jarius Hamilton to establish position outside the restricted area. And that's something you really love to see if you're Mark Turgeon. Jarius Hamilton, a transfer to this Maryland team, just took a charge with 12 minutes to go in the game, up 27.
Graham from the corner, he got it. His first three is the Maryland Terrapin. He's up to 5 points on the day.
And what did I say? Once the first one goes down, the rest will soon follow. And James Graham starting to heat up a little bit.
Clark at the top looking to stop the bleeding for Wingate. Maryland's made 8 of their last 10 from the floor. And Clark a composed finish. Clark up to 6 points, 2 of 3 from the floor so far today. We're going to see Marcus Dockery check in for Maryland momentarily. Here's Graham. Up top to his fellow freshman, Aquan Smart. Graham, another 3, and he got it! James Graham, have a day.
How about that for the new kid? James, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have troubles, and whether or not you're able to put that behind you and advance to the next game is what's going to separate this year the teams that make and miss the NCAA tournament.
Marcus Dockery now into the game for Maryland, the 6'2 freshman from D.C. Speaking of Anthony Cowan Jr., Dockery grew up in the area, really loved the games of Anthony Cowan Jr., and going back one before that, Mello Trimble, serving as some local inspiration for the young guy. And
Terps fans will like to see the news about Anthony Cowan Jr. in the past couple days. Got picked up by the Memphis Hustle in the G League draft. So an opportunity for a real fan favorite in College Park over the past couple of years. Has made quite a few big-time shots on this court.
Marial working down low, had it stripped cleanly. And the bounce pass, no look, the reverse finish. What a great play there by Wingate.
Francisio once again making things happen offensively. Sometimes when you're a Division II school playing a D1, the game is a bit too quick for you. It doesn't look that way for Francisio. And on the other end, once again, Joel Marial bringing the ball down and bringing the defender back into the play.
Dockery a 3, couldn't quite connect. 2 of 3 from deep for the freshman on the season. Here's Clark. Long 2, and doesn't fall. Now Jarius Hamilton. Dockery in the corner. Back up to Hamilton. And back to Dockery. Foul on the floor, but we'll take another look at this really, really impressive play by Wingate.
Yeah, it's an excellent no-look pass from Kendrick Tucker, and then an athletic play, the body control from Francisio to keep himself upright and keep himself aligned towards the basket, just to lay it up, use the glass, and get 2.
Coming back in the game for the Bulldogs is Quantre Taylor. We'll pick things up with Shoal Marial at the line. Shooting 1 and 1. I honestly think Marial could just reach out his arm and just drop it in the basket sometimes.
Yeah, when you're 7'2", it all looks a little bit easier, doesn't it?
7'8" wingspan as well. Couldn't quite connect on the 1-and-1, and rebound pulled down by Taylor. 10 minutes left in this one. Late addition to both teams' schedules, but certainly will benefit both of them going forward. Here's Tucker. A lefty, no good. Rebounded by James Graham III. All the way down to Dockery on the other end off the window. A great find and an equally good finish.
That's a heads-up play from the freshman Marcus Dockery to realize that there's nobody in front of him down the court and to sprint the floor to get the easy two.
And it's tipped around underneath, and Dockery is the one to take control. Feeds into the corner for Aquan Smart, but looked like he stepped on the line, so it will go back to Wingate.
That's a bit of a difficult look there between the two freshmen, but this wasn't a difficult look at all between the same two. Aquan Smart, eyes up all the way after he gets the defensive rebound. That's a mature play. Oftentimes freshmen and younger players, especially the guard position, when they get a defensive rebound, they want to put their head down so that they can run the floor, but Smart had his head up all the way, realized that Dockery was down the floor and was able to get it to him.
Marial got a fingertip on the block on the other end. Aquan Smart couldn't quite get the finish. See Reese Mona back in the game for Maryland momentarily. Now here's Franciscio, defended by Dockery. Coming through, kicks it up top. A three is up and airballed that one. Taylor Bell, the freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina. Reese Mona and Hakeem Hart come back into the game for Maryland so far. Hakeem Hart has quietly 8 points, 6 of them coming from three in the first half.
Well, he's had that one monster game against St. Peter's with his new career high, but other than that, he hasn't been at the forefront of many storylines, but very quietly, I think Hakeem Hart has shown tremendous growth from last year to this year.
Big preseason surprise. We heard whispers coming out of the preseason camp for the Terrapins that he'd worked his way up to being Maryland's 6th or 7th man, and they're going to call James Graham for the walk here.
Yeah, just shuffling his feet a bit too much in the post. And that's something that James Graham will learn as he gets into the college level. Mark Turgeon going to coach him up how to collect the ball in the post at the college level, because those refs will call it a lot more than the high school refs.
And an errant pass over to us.
I was open, Brendan.
We are wearing the Wingate colors. It could be confusing. Reese Mona will inbound.
And just to kind of go back to the Hart discussion, it's almost out of necessity that he's become a much bigger player. We talked about the losses from last year. Anthony Cowan Jr., Galen Smith, who's going to step up. And it's kind of been a bit more by committee than it was last year, but Hakeem Hart very much a part of that committee.
Good cut down low by Graham and goes up and in. He was flailing his arms in the corner saying he was open for the three, but didn't get it, made the cut to the basket, and got a really great finish.
That's 2 excellent cuts already from James Graham to get a pair of twos, one for his first bucket into the paint, and now this one all the way down to the rim.
Blake Bailey, the redshirt junior from Cornelius, North Carolina, not able to get it for Wingate. Here's Hart through the lane, puts it up, draws the foul. Talked about that quietly being pretty good, and that was almost loudly pretty good.
Yeah, that's a big part of Hakeem Hart's game, to be able to go all the way in. James Graham, a 4-caliber team, he has been excellent this year.
Hakeem Hart at the line, shooting one. And rattles that one home. Now 11 points on the day. Aquan Smart back in the game, and also checking in before that free throw for the first time was the freshman from Sion, Switzerland, Arnaud Rivas. Attended Lycée Saint-Pierre in France. Started playing basketball only at 15, a little late in the game, but worked his way to Division I here in the U.S. Ten on the shot clock for Wingate. Clark looking to go baseline against Rivas, puts it up and draws the foul.
Give you an A+ for that pronunciation there, by the way.
Merci. Those French classes really paying off, I guess.
This is kind of the point of this stage of the game right now for Mark Turgeon, though, getting guys who haven't seen any action yet, see what they look like against live opposition, and Rivas certainly a part of that.
Clark having a pretty good game off the bench, up to 6 points on 2 of 4 from the floor. Makes the free throw. Perfect 3 of 3 from the line so far. Maryland before that was only a 7-0 run in the last 2.5 minutes, but still Wingate no field goals in the last 3 minutes, 19 seconds. 0 of their last 6, 1 of their last 8.
Yeah, solid performance from Clark. Those 2 free throws make him up to 8 points. That's now tied his season high. And in much fewer minutes as well. He had 22 minutes against Catawba. That got him to 8 points, only 17 here to get him to 8. So starting to grow into this season.
Second ago, you got to look at Avern Montague, the redshirt freshman from Hilton Head, South Carolina, coming into the game for the first time for Wingate. Dockery, a 3, and he got it. No basket.
Might have called a foul on the floor beforehand.
Referee in front of us had the 3 up, but
board and the standings, it doesn't count for them. It's an exhibition game, but it will help them down the road.
So just some clarification on that last action as Mariel knocks down the first free throw. The bucket was credited to Dockery, was a 3-point shot. And then we pick things up with Mariel at the line here shooting his second, and it's good. 87-48, 7 to play. A lot of time left. Valuable minutes, as you said, for both teams just in what they're trying to get out of this game. Kendrick Tucker at the top. Now Taylor. There's Blake Bailey. Good handles there through the lane, the feed. And 7 to shoot, and it's swatted by Marial. Back to Tucker, who puts up the teardrop floater. No good, but there's a foul. It comes on the offense.
Yeah, it looks like Quantre Taylor got a bit of a push there. But how about that for extension from Joel Marial? How would you like to shoot into a 7-2 frame in the low post, Brendan?
I would not. I would not at all. He is a 1.5 feet taller than me, roughly, than both of us, I'd say.
Opportunity for first points of a career here once again.
Arno Rivas at the line for the Terrapins. Only made 1 shot attempt from the floor. Couldn't quite get it. Has a second chance. Did play for the Swiss national team growing up at the U18 European Championships. When you talk about Swiss inspiration, you know, Roger Federer, also Pau Gasol, just a lot of guys that come in to inspire Rivas. And he got it. First points in a Maryland uniform for Arno Rivas.
And you love to see the bench reaction to that as well. Needed a little bit extra, the rim a little bit kind, but Rivas able to get on the score sheet, and his teammates certainly love it. And you talk about those inspirations. Any Swiss athlete going to be inspired by Roger Federer. And then Paul Gasol one is interesting. He's not Swiss. He represents the Spanish national team in international competition. But Europe continuing to grow in the game of basketball and the love of game of basketball. You see that with Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, guys like that. So especially guys in the western part of Europe that have been able to contribute for a long time. Paul Gasol, one of the first real European superstars in the league. Interesting to see that Rivas named him.
Marial, a 3 from the top. Couldn't quite get that one. Made his first 3 of his career last time out against Illinois. Big smile there from the 7-2 man.
Trying to start to add that to his game. And if you get a 7-2 guy who can make threes, that's really, really difficult to defend.
Yeah, Maryland had a big guy last year in Galen Smith that could step out and shoot the 3 quite a bit as well. Obviously not the same height, not the same player, but when you're looking, we talked about those figurative and literal big shoes to fill with the departure of Galen Smith to the NBA. Some jokes around the Maryland faithful as well when Galen Smith announced his transfer to Maryland. No good there on the attempt. And Reese Mona fighting for the rebound, and he got it. That, going back to my point, that Galen Smith was just Jalen Smith with a mustache and, you know, the disguise. But indeed a different player. Here's Marial working down low, goes up with the left hand and gets the finish. That rim, as you said, very kind to Maryland here today.
Well, it was on that side of the floor that some last-minute net adjustments had to be made right before game time, and that rim a little bit softer, it appears.
I think you just fueled a bunch of online conspiracies, Ben, but here we are in the paint. No good on the mid-range 2 from Taylor Bell. Aquan Smart through traffic, off the window, couldn't get the roll, but will head to the line. He is one of 2 Terrapins that have featured today not to be in the scoring column. The other being Reese Mona, who hasn't even attempted a shot from the floor.
Well, and shooting isn't really either of those players' games at Quan Smart. A lot more of a distributor. Reese Mona, a bit of a scrappy player, looks to get rebounds, looks to draw charges, looks to create turnovers and kind of create havoc on the defensive end.
Smart not able to make the first one either. Mona will depart for James Graham to come back in. And when you look at Quan Smart, from Evanston, Illinois, there's a lot of stories out there about his recruiting, how Mark Turgeon came out and saw him during a snowstorm and all that. But his favorite number is 3. But here in the Maryland program, that hasn't been worn since Juan Dixon, the national champion. So he picked number 23 to pay respect to his hometown of Chicago and Michael Jordan.
It's a pretty good number to pick.
Not bad, yeah.
Pretty good number to pick, and the number 3 right now hanging in the rafters at the Xfinity Center. Juan Dixon helped them win that national title. But if you're going to pick another number, and you're from the Chicagoland area, 23, not a bad one.
It's a sacred number at that. Coming into the game for Wingate, the redshirt freshman from Harrisburg, North Carolina, Michael Bagnosco. Kicked out to the corner. You see Wingate starting to reach down their bench just a little bit too as we're under 5 minutes to play. 3 from the far side, no good. It really been point of emphasis and lack of end product for Wingate. Shooting only 26% from 3. Graham dips the shoulder. Marial, a 3 from the top. Couldn't quite get that one either. Hustle there from Reese Moan as he goes, Rivas as he goes sliding into the Maryland bench.
Well, the bench would have absolutely exploded if that one went down for Marial. That was a deep one. That's NBA 3 range and just couldn't quite get it to go. Love to see, though, that the bench supporting, especially some of these guys who haven't played as much, some of the younger guys who, look, they might not play a whole lot this year, but in 2022, 2023, you're going to be hearing a lot from number 23.
Telegraph pass intercepted by Wingate. Behind the back pass, couldn't quite connect, just a little too cheeky from Blake Bailey going down the other end. You see, they're having fun with it now. It's a 91-50 game. You got to lean into it sometimes.
Yeah, Blake Bailey hasn't appeared since the opening game of the season. That was all the way back on November the 21st. So maybe get a couple of those behind-the-back passes out of the way, and then when it comes time for that Lincoln Memorial game against the top 10 team in the country at the Division II level, might have that one ready to go.
Just to clarify, that's a team Lincoln Memorial. They will not be playing at the Lincoln Memorial.
Probably.
We can't make any promises, but Maryland out to a big-time lead here in college.
Won against Lincoln Memorial on January 30th, top 10 team in the nation at the Division II level.
Montague from the corner, no good. Rebounded there by Eric Alvey into the game. And another attempt by Montague. Same result, tipped around, and Dockery gets the board.
And we should mention that Wingate's only able to play this game because they, too, had a game tomorrow that got postponed for COVID reasons. They were supposed to play against Anderson University. They had an issue with COVID protocols, and so Wingate was able to get freed up, and they were able to play this game. An odd schedule for Wingate, a break of over 3 weeks in the schedule to allow players to go home for holiday reasons and see their families. They didn't play between December the 12th and January the 5th.
Talk about just all these big breaks. Maryland, this 4-day break was the longest they've had since December 22nd. Talk about trying to avoid that 9-day break before Michigan and all that as well. James Graham now. Lob down low for Mariel, who goes up and tries to throw it down, but is fouled. And will head to the line again, the big man.
And the tallest player on the floor is going to get to the free throw line, or at least should get to the free throw line a fair amount, and that's certainly what's happening. A nice little lob pass, though, to get the ball to Mariel. The problem hasn't necessarily been what's Mariel going to do when he gets the ball. It's how can you get him the ball in that low post, and going over the top of defenses is going to work when you have the tallest guy on the floor there.
Coming into the game for only his second appearance, freshman Aiden McCool from Charleston, South Carolina. Attended Bishop England High School down there and averaged 15 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Also a member of his high school's 1,000-point club. 3-time All-Region and All-O County as well. Mariel not able to connect on the first. He does have 4 points on the day, 2 of them coming from the stripe. Terps haven't scored in the last 2 minutes and change. And, well, yep, that sounds about right for today.
Yeah, that's par for the course in the 91-52 game. But, hey, the good news about that, if that ever happens, Maryland always has a guy ready to go to get that ball out.
That's true. You don't need to get the poles or anything out.
Not necessarily at all. Let's see if the Terps try to get the ball to McCool on this possession.
He will inbound it here. Defended by Alvey. And it's Dockery. Gets it out to McCool. First touch in play. Quan Smart backing in. Out to McCool. Drop of the shoulder. Driving inside the reverse. It was a foul there. He does draw and he'll head to the line. Maryland bench loved that aggression.
Absolutely. The Wingate bench not so sure about that foul. Thought he might take a three. Instead, he decides, hey, you know what? I'm only 6'3", but I'm going to go put the ball on the floor, drive it towards the rim, and get myself to the free throw line.
And the first career points for Aiden McCool. A big, big moment when you look at, what this game means to both of these teams. And yes, it breaks up the breaks in the schedule, but you get moments like that. McCool, a guy who's only played 1 minute so far this season. If this game hadn't happened, you could probably make a pretty safe bet that he would get another minute. And now another one, Jade Brombot coming to the game, the junior from Olney. He played 2 seasons at the University of the Pacific before transferring to Bethesda Chevy Chase High School, not too far away from here as well.
And yes, it's a wonderful moment, and congratulations to McCool and to his entire family. But that's also going to matter because eventually there's going to be a point in time when he is going to have to play valuable minutes. And his ability to play now and to get on the floor now means that he's going to be less phased when those big-time moments come up. Think about Hakeem Hart last year. When Hakeem Hart scored, it was an event. It wasn't necessarily routine like it is this year. But this year, he's right in the thick of the rotation for Maryland, and he's able to be more composed because he saw that time in a little bits and spurts last year.
We pick things up with the freshman Taylor Bell at the stripe, shooting 1-1, makes the first attempt. Played in 7 games so far this year, averaging about 5.5 minutes per game. 4 of those he went scoreless, but had a career high of 5 versus Newberry back on the 5th of January. And that one rattles home as well. Terps still haven't made a field goal in the last 3 minutes. There's 2 minutes left in this contest. Here's McCool. Over to Dockery. Hands off to Brombot. He puts up a 3, has it blocked there, and it falls to Wingate. Quick outlet pass down the other end. McCool tracking back, and there is a foul. It was Eric Alvey able to apply the finish.
And for guys like Eric Alvey, who don't play all that much for Wingate either, that matters for the Bulldogs, too. We've been talking about it from a Terps perspective. But who knows what Brian Good is going to have to call upon, and especially in this season when you never are quite sure who's going to be available, who's not going to be available, making sure that your rotation and your roster up and down has experience and you could feel comfortable putting them in any situation in a game.
Here's Rivas at the top. Waits to hand it off to Brombot. Now Smart working through the lane, up off the window and gets the roll. Quan Smart, only his first made field goal. Only a second attempted field goal to his credit. Stop and pop action there from Eric Alvey. Can't get it to go. Quan Smart lobs it down for Rivas. Kicks out. Here's Brombot. Puts up the 3. He got it. First Maryland points for Jade Brombot.
And the bench absolutely loves it. Jarius Hamilton and Hakeem Hart went wild after that 3-ball went down. And that's the kind of culture Mark Turgeon has brought to College Park over the past decade of him being on the sideline. The team loves each other. They love each other's successes.
This is just a really great team play by Maryland, working it all the way around. A lot of touches on the ball. And you see Marcus Dockery getting fired up for his teammate there.
And Dockery, a freshman as well, so this is going to be the next unit. If you're a Maryland Terrapin fan, you're thinking what's ahead when, say, Dante Scott has to leave or Aaron Wiggins has to leave, Eric Ayala, Daryl Morcell, this kind of last window for some of these upperclassmen. Well, Dante Scott only a sophomore, but you think he might potentially be leaving College Park before his 4 years are done. What's next? This is next.
Good glimpse to the future for the Maryland faithful. Under 50 seconds left, there's a foul. Arno Rivas picking up the foul, his second. You got to think for what this game means, Mark Turgeon will be pleased.
Yeah, his team did his job, absolutely. got out to an early lead. There were some troubles in the first couple of minutes of the game as Laquan Smart strong to the hoop, but eventually able to pull away. They shot the ball well. They dominated on the inside, able to work inside out a lot. Aaron Wiggins had a phenomenal game. Dante Scott was solid as well, and you were able to get some of these younger players in. So just about everything on the checklist for Mark Turchin, he was able to get done.
Quan Smart at the line for Maryland, and he makes the free throw. Wingate has had 99 problems, and they've all been Maryland points. And makes the second, and the Terps hit 100. Worth noting, the first time Maryland's hit 100 points this season. I believe the highest they got to before that was 90 against St. Peter's back on the 4th of December. And a swat there from Rivas, but a foul drawn by Taylor Bell.
21 seconds left, Brendan, so I'll ask you this little mini trivia question about Wingate University. The most famous alumnus, Florida State University baseball coach Mike Martin, who has won more games than any coach at any sport at the NCAA level. He took his team, or he led his team for 40 seasons. How many times did he miss the NCAA tournament? 40 seasons.
Gonna guess once.
It was 0.
0, wow. Thought 0 would be a little too easy.
That's an impressive career right
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely.
An impressive performance for Maryland.
Took the words right out of my mouth. So Quan Smart will dribble this one out. The Terps get a 100-58 win over Wingate. Exactly what Maryland needed as they look to go into the final stretch of Big Ten play.
Well, they did exactly what they needed to do today. Yes, you're not going to play against the Michigan Wolverines tonight, but you face quality opponent. Francis Co. was excellent for the Wingate Bulldogs, and they were able to find a way to...
At the starting lineups for both these teams, Maryland still without Eric Ayala, missed the last game due to a groin injury, but Dante Scott, one of the guys that picked up production.
No, certainly, Brandon. He had 16 and 8 rebounds in that win against Illinois, and Aaron Wiggins with 12 points as well. And on the other side, speaking of coming off of strong performances, Kendrick Tucker with 20 in a win against Coker.
Galen Smith and Quantre Taylor to go for the jump ball. We're underway in College Park. Brennan Hartlove, Ben Curtis, so happy you could join us for this Friday matinee. Hakeem Hart getting the start for the Terrapins, only his 6th of the season. Into the post for Galen Smith, getting the start as well, looking to muscle his way up. Missed it short, and the rebound pulled down by Taylor. Here's Miguel Priest, now off the near side. Kendrick Tucker back up to Priest at the top. 6 in rebounds in the SAC conference. Down low is Taylor, working on Galen Smith. Finds Cottingham in the center, and puts it up. He is fouled.
And Jared Cottingham's going to have to touch the ball every single possession down the floor for Wingate. If they're going to have success offensively, the entire offense needs to run through number 0 in dark blue.
Ranked 6th in the SAC in scoring, tied for 11th field goal percentage as well, as he heads to the line for the first time today. Shooting about 76% from the stripe and makes the first one for the first point of the afternoon. As we talked about last year, honorable mention all-conference, and was all-conference freshman team back in 2018-19 as well. Makes the second, and the Terps will now look for a response. Dante Scott talked about that big performance last time out against Illinois. Morcell, the masked man, a career high in that game against Illinois, and led the Terps in that charge. And a giveaway there, and the Bulldogs will come to the other end. Tucker kicks out to Priest for 3, and he missed that one. Quick tempo down the other end. Dante Scott now. He'll pull up for a 3. Terps just can't find the ball into the bucket just yet. Floater from the top of the key is good. And Wingate's out to a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, Francis Co. is an excellent basketball player as well. We talked about Cottingham in the open, but Co. is averaging over 17 points per game himself. A 1-2 punch from number 0 and 2.
Morcell now for the Terps. Hands off to Aaron Wiggins. 2020 Big Ten 6th man of the year. Drives lane, kicks out. Morcell a 3. Can't get that one to fall either. Tempo down the other way from Co. A long three put up and off the mark from Kountouriotou.
A little bit rushed that possession.
Hart down low and an easy bucket to get Maryland on the board.
And Wingate usually loves to run in transition, especially off of live ball turnovers and defensive rebounds, but it seems to be Maryland that when they get the ball off the rim, they're the ones who are pushing.
Kicked out to the far side. Francis Seo, the redshirt junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina, puts it up from the top of the key, and that one will fall to Dante Scott. Morcell in the corner for the Terrapins. And there's a whistle down low. The foul will come on Quantre Taylor, redshirt junior from Indian Land, South Carolina.
And it's a good job from Galen Smith to establish position, but he's got to do so earlier in the possession.
Quick three off the inbound, no good. Rattled in and out from Aaron Wiggins, but it will stay with the Terrapins on this end of the floor.
And inbounds off of that exact spot on the floor has been a problem for Wingate all season long. Last time out against Coker, they ran 2 plays in the first half with easy buckets coming off of timeouts or out-of-bounds plays at that baseline.
Galen Smith now looking to find a lane inside. Puts up the floater, can't get it. Morcell was there for the tip, but Taylor pulls down the rebound. Priest looking to drive inside, spins up off the window with the right hand and in. 4-point lead for the Bulldogs.
And Miguel Priest is a really strong performer for Wingate as well. The stats don't really jump off the page because he's been in foul trouble too much. 4 fouls in 3 games already this year, but when he's on the floor, he makes a difference.
Dante Scott puts up a 3, and that one not going down as well. Galen Smith goes up and throws it down.
Well, that's just inside position from Galen Smith, and he knows what to do from that close range, but Maryland really struggling from beyond the arc so far.
As we said, they are without Eric Ayala, the primary point guard for the Terrapins, and a big 3-point shooter himself, cutting him down low, tried to bank it in off the glass, but Galen Smith corralled the rebound. Hart brings it across the timeline. Aaron Wiggins at least 14 points in 5 of his last 6 games. Dante Scott now from the far side. Back up top. Wiggins for 3. He got it. Finally one goes for the Terrapins, and now they're on top.
That's just good off-ball movement from Wiggins and excellent vision as well from Dante Scott. His maturity as a passer over the past couple years in College Park has grown exponentially.
Got him down low. Tried to go with the right hand underneath the defender, and it falls to Maryland. Wiggins. Bounce past Morcell, who goes up, draws the contact, could not find the finish. But the masked Morcell will head to the line. Another look at this one as we head into the first timeout. Wiggins knocking it down for the Terrapins over Illinois. So he will head to the line out of this timeout, shooting about 54% from the stripe. Not exactly what Morcell and the Terrapins would want from him this year.
And free throws have been an issue all season long for Maryland, under 70% from the charity stripe. Mark Turgeon going to want more from that, especially in Big Ten play. Already a lot of close games this season. You look at that Purdue contest, only a 3-point loss. Those free throws can be the decider.
He does make the second, and Maryland will make their first sub of the game. Jarius Hamilton, the transfer from Boston College, will come into the game. And also, Andreas Wilson came in for Wingate as well, wearing the number 23, the junior guard from North Carolina. Also in is Rashad Pringle, the redshirt senior from Jacksonville. Here he is on the far side, puts up a 3 and got it. What a way to enter the game for Rashad Pringle. Knocking down the 3, and Wingate's back up by 1.
Welcome to basketball against a Division I opponent. Come straight into the game, get a touch, knock down a big shot, take the lead.
Wiggins now back up to Hamilton. Hands off to Hart. And Pringle will be called for the foul, his first of the day.
Was a bit surprised not to see Andreas Wilson in the starting lineup just because of his performance against Coker last time out, an 86-74 win for the Bulldogs.